It's a funny thing about life, isn't it? The more we try to chase comfort, the more, well, discomfort seems to find us. It's this weird irony. But what if I told you there's a powerful secret hidden in that idea? That by intentionally choosing to do the hard stuff, we can actually make our lives a whole lot easier. So, hard now for an easy later? I mean, that's the choice we make almost every single day, right? Do the workout now or chill on the couch and maybe regret it later. But this is about more than just putting off the fun stuff. It's actually a fundamental strategy for building a life where you're not just getting by, you're actually thriving. And this brings us right to the core idea, something I like to call the hard things paradox. Here's the deal. When you voluntarily take on manageable challenges, things that push you but don't break you, you're basically running drills. You're secretly training for those big, unexpected storms that, let's be honest, life is definitely going to throw at you. Think about it like this. A sailor, right? They don't just sit around waiting for a hurricane to figure out how to handle their boat. No way. They go out on purpose when the water's a bit choppy. They're building skill, sure, but more than that, they're building this deep, gut-level confidence. So when that real storm finally hits, it's not panic, it's instinct, it's preparation. That's the paradox in action. And what's so cool about this is that it isn't some trendy new life hack you'd see online. Nope, this is ancient, time-tested wisdom. We're talking about a kind of training for life that's been around for thousands of years. And honestly, some of the most resilient people in history absolutely lived by this code. The ancient Stoics had a word for this practice, ascesis. Now, it's super important to get this right. This is not about punishing yourself, not at all. It's about disciplined training. Think of an athlete prepping for the Olympics. The whole point was to methodically strengthen your mind and your body, to prove to yourself that your limits are way further out than you think, and ultimately, to stop being a slave to your own comfort. The Roman Stoic Seneca just nailed it. He said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." It's so simple, right? You lift weights, your muscles get stronger. You face small, chosen challenges, and your mind gets stronger. Every single one is like one more rep for your resilience. So the Stoics knew this stuff in their bones. But let's fast forward a couple of thousand years, and guess what? Science has finally caught up. Modern psychology has taken this ancient wisdom, put it under the microscope, studied it, and given it a proper clinical name. And the way we talk about it today is just brilliant. Think of it as a psychological vaccine, a way to intentionally give yourself a little shot of protection against future stress. Yeah, it's a real thing. It's a therapeutic approach called Stress Inoculation Training, or SIT for short. And that vaccine metaphor is just perfect. You know how a vaccine introduces a tiny, harmless piece of a virus so your body can learn how to fight the real thing? SIT does the exact same thing for your mind. It exposes you to small, manageable stressors so you can build up these, psychological antibodies. So how does it actually work? Well, SIT basically breaks down into 3 phases. First up is education. You got to figure out what your triggers are, what stresses you out and how do you usually react. Second is skills development. This is where you actually learn and practice new tools, things like breathing techniques or just changing how you think about a problem. And finally, application. You take those new skills and you start using them in real but controlled situations. You're building that mental muscle memory, just like our sailor practicing in the choppy waves. All right, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how do we actually do it in real life? I think for most of us, our first thought is just willpower. Just grit your teeth and push through. But there's a much, much smarter and more sustainable way. It's not about having more willpower. It's about building a better system. And this is such a key difference. Think of willpower like the battery on your phone. It starts at 100%, but it just drains all day long. It gets zapped by emotions, by being tired. But discipline, that's different. Discipline is a system. It's about setting up habits and routines so that doing the right thing becomes the default, the automatic choice. You don't even have to think about it, so you're not constantly draining that precious battery. So let's just throw out the old definition of discipline, okay? It's not about brute force. It's about becoming the architect of your own life. It means you're intentionally designing your environment, your schedule, even the people you surround yourself with, all to make doing the hard but beneficial thing the path of least resistance. Okay, so we've looked at the ancient philosophy. We've dived into the modern science. Let's put it all together into a practical toolkit that you can actually start using today. All right, here it is, your resilience toolkit. Number 1, embrace voluntary discomfort. And start small. Take a cold shower, skip a meal, do that tough workout you've been avoiding. Number 2, reframe stress as training. See every challenge that comes your way as just another rep in the mental gym. Number 3, build systems, not just willpower. Automate those good decisions with smart habits. And finally, and this is the one that really holds it all together, find meaning in your response. This might just be the most profound tool of all. The psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl discovered this profound truth in the most horrific circumstances you can imagine. Life will present us with unavoidable hardship. That's a guarantee. The point of the hard things paradox isn't to go looking for suffering, but to be prepared for it. And when it arrives, our ultimate freedom, our ultimate power, lies in our ability to choose our response, to find meaning, purpose, and even growth when faced with adversity. That right there is the final and most powerful tool for building true resilience.